Okay. Hi, kids. This is Mr. Edigovich. We're going to try this a little differently today because yesterday's lesson didn't really go as planned. I think because we're a little hesitant, maybe a little nervous to talk to each other during these breakout room sessions in Google Meets. And that's understandable. Like, I'm not upset about it. I just need us to participate as much as we can to not let one person do all the talking. Anyway, you should have your We the People book. If you don't, pause your video and go get it. You should also have a pencil. And then we're going to open our books right away to page 16. And we're going to pick up where we left off from yesterday. So inside this orange box. And I will talk to you about that now. So here we are. And this is what we call close reading. Okay, and in a video, I have a little bit more time to explain things. In a Google Meet, I feel kind of rushed. So we're looking for text evidence. We're looking for things inside the story that answer these questions for us. Okay, and so what we tried to do yesterday was look back at Don't Change the School Song. Who is the audience for the student's letter? Okay, that's the first question. So I'm going to turn my page back to Don't Change the School Song, and I'm going to try and identify who the audience is for the student's letter. Now, an audience is whoever the letter is being written to. Okay, so who is this letter written to? That's the first thing you want to determine. So I'm going to jump back to the story, and then I'm going to remember that who is the audience for the student's letter. Then I'm also going to remember to identify one fact and one opinion. And we talked about those yesterday. But I'm going to have a little post-it note so I don't have to keep flipping my page back and forth. And then I'll direct you through what you need to do as we go through the lesson. Okay, I'm back here at my story. Don't Change the School Song. I have my post-it note here. Kids, you don't have to write this post-it note out. That's just for me to help you along. But the first thing we're going to determine is who the audience is. And we said the audience is whoever the letter is being written to. And so when I look at this article, I see the heading or the title of the article, Don't Change the School Song. And right underneath it, I notice Dear Principal Rosewood. Well, automatically, if that letter is being addressed to this person, I know that's my audience. Okay, that's the person that I'm writing this to. That's the person that I want to see all of my thoughts. And that's the person that I'm trying to convince to change their mind about something. So I'm going to highlight that person's name. You can underline it, you can circle it, you can do whatever you want with it. Just make sure you identify it. And that just means to highlight it or underline it or call attention to it. So you can see I've highlighted it, and I also wrote the word audience there, and I'll zoom in on that so you know how to spell it. There it is, Audience. Audience means the group of people you're addressing or to whom you're speaking. So now that I've done with this question, I'm going to go ahead and cross that one off our list because we know we've answered that one. And now I have to go through and identify one fact and one opinion. And I'm going to use different colored markers to do that. You can use whatever you want. I'll give you some different options on how to do that. But I'm looking for facts and I'm looking for opinions. And we talked about those a little yesterday. And I'm just going to remind you right now that a fact is something that's proven to be true. Okay. An opinion is a view or a judgment. So people can have different opinions, but when we're talking about something with someone and we're identifying facts, we're assuming those things cannot be argued. So if we're looking for facts, it's things that you know to be true that no one can in that discussion say, no, that's not true. An opinion is just a view or a judgment. I see it this way. is how you might say that in any kind of conversation. So I do want you to write these things down. So I am going to zoom in there also so you can pause the video and write those down. And here we are again. A fact is something that's proven to be true. This pencil is yellow and made of wood. Those are facts because I can prove those. Those are agreed upon things that people have decided, yes, those are true things. And then opinions would be a view or a judgment. I think pencils are better than pens. Someone could look at you and say, well, you know what? I don't agree with that. I think pens are better than pencils, and there's no real right or wrong. But facts tend to have a right or a wrong. Opinions do not. They are views or judgments. So please write this down. And now what we need to do is go through our article and decide if we can find any facts or opinions. So the first thing I'm going to look for is a fact, because that's what I like to do. So I did facts in blue. So I'm going to get my blue marker out. And I'm just going to start reading. We in Mrs. Chatham's class do not agree with your plan to change the school song. That's not really a fact or an opinion. That's a statement. We are submitting a petition to let you know our position. You could say that's a fact because they are doing that, but there's better facts later in the article. So in paragraph 1 here in my introduction, I don't really have a fact or opinion that I'm happy with. Then we go on to paragraph 2. The current song is an important part of Washington Avenue Elementary. It has been sung at every holiday assembly since 1947. And I'm going to go back to that first sentence in paragraph 2 in a second, but this is a fact, or at least we're assuming it's a fact. It has been sung at every holiday assembly since 1947. They're presenting that information to Principal Rosewood to try and build up their arguments. So it's saying, hey, we shouldn't change this because we've done this for forever, for 50, 60, 70 years. But up above that, I'm going to switch to my purple marker because they say the current song is an important part of Washington Avenue Elementary. This is not a fact, but this is an opinion. Okay? The students believe it's an important part of Washington Avenue Elementary, at least these students writing these petitions. But somebody could say, you know what, kids, that's not really that important of a part. Okay, and this is why. And they could say, no, we do believe it's an important part, and this is why. And that's kind of what they're doing here. Okay, so they say their opinion. The current song is an important part of Washington Elementary, and then they support it with a fact. It has been sung at every holiday assembly since 1947. Typically, when someone gives an opinion, they're going to follow it with a fact because they want people to believe them. And then they tell you why. We want to preserve this tradition. Plus, the song expresses the core beliefs of our school. Words such as strength and teamwork express what makes Washington Avenue School special. These ideas help us show our school pride. They should continue to be celebrated. Now, I'm going to tell you here too, this is just a little bonus feature because we have one fact and opinion. I'm going to take this off. All of this, after this word plus, these are all opinions, okay? The song expresses the core beliefs of our school. Maybe, but as they understand it, and there could be other things, or the new song may express those core beliefs in the same way. They talk about words such as strength and teamwork express what makes Washington Avenue School special. Again, that's an opinion. Some people may not think strength and teamwork express that. These ideas help us show our school pride. That's another opinion. Okay? They can't prove this, that these ideas for every child there help show the school pride. And it's their opinion that they should continue to be celebrated. So all of this is an opinion. Okay? And we're not going to spend too much time focusing on the next paragraph. There are a few facts in here and a few opinions, but the bigger ones, the big content, just like we talked about in our letter to Mr. Schreifels, comes in this main part of the letter. Okay, this, they're closing up their argument. They're saying these are the things we know. These are the things we believe in. They're saying everything one more time, and then they ask again here. We talked about asking again. So please do not change the school song. And then they tell her it has a special place in our school's history and in our hearts. This would be an opinion, okay? It might be a fact that it's in their hearts, but it's not necessarily in every student's hearts. But it is an opinion that it has a special place in our school's history. Some people may not care about it at all. And so that changes it from a fact to an opinion. So those are just some other pieces. But again, we're not going to look too closely at this one. We got what we need from the first page. So we're going to stop this part of the video here, and we're going to look at the next question. And going back to our next question on page 16, it says, reread paragraph 2 of Education First. Identify each time the author uses the pronoun we. Why do you think Malala uses we instead of I? So I'm back here in my story, or my article, Education First, on page 14, and I went all the way down to paragraph 2. And I'm going to be honest here too. In my mind, this is not a paragraph. This is just an explanation of where the speech took place. So in my opinion, this is paragraph 1 and this is paragraph 2. And so we need to be clear about what we're talking about. Otherwise, we're going to read the wrong thing. So we are looking at this, and if it doesn't work, then we'll go back and reassess. But for now, I want you right here. And I have my little notes there, and it says, the first notes I have is it said to look for we. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to circle every time they say the word we in this paragraph. And so I see it here, and I see it here. And just for the sake of being thorough, I'm going to go back up and circle it in the first paragraph too, because there's only 2 there. So I will show you in just a second what I did. And I'm also going to say, after rereading this, I think when they ask that question, they are looking at this is paragraph 1, and this is paragraph 2, and this is paragraph 3. I'm going to tell you, I don't necessarily agree with that, but you can label them however you want. And the important part is we just find the word we. So make sure you circle all the times they use the word we. And I want you to notice that, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times they use the word we, or she, I should say, she uses the word we. And so what I want you to think about is, why does she use the word we? Why doesn't she say I? Because that would change the paragraphs a little bit. If I said, dear brothers and sisters, I want schools and education for every child's bright future. I will continue my journey to our destination of peace and education for everyone. No one can stop me. I will speak for our rights, and I will bring change through my voice. I must believe in the power and strength of my words. My words can change the world. Because, well, and in the second part, you can't, because you can't say, because I am all in this together, united for the cause of education. And if I want to achieve our goal, then let me empower ourselves. So once you get here, she can't use I anymore, because it wouldn't go along with what she was saying up above. So again, though, the question is, why does she say we instead of I? And what I want you to do is, I want you to just write a sentence down. And you're going to write it over here, and it's going to say, I think Malala uses we because. And then you're going to fill in the rest because I know why I think she uses it, and Tom knows why Tom thinks she uses it, and Sally knows why she thinks she uses it. But I want to hear from you. And so when we get to our reading lesson today, this is one thing we're going to talk about. You are going to go into your groups and you are going to share why you think Malala uses the word we. And I want you to participate. I am setting you up so you have got everything you need. All you have to do is come prepared to talk about why you think Malala uses the word we, and you need to support that with some kind of evidence. I think Malala uses the word we because I think this because of this reason. And that way you can have an actual conversation in your small groups and not just sit there and stare at each other, because I want you to be as interactive as we can be, because if we're not talking to each other, we're not really learning. And that's important to me. So please take that into consideration and think about that before you come to reading today. We are going to stop here. We're not going to do the read across text ones because that will just get too long. So please come to reading today with this statement written in your book so you can talk about it. Okay. And if you don't have a book to write in, you can write it on a piece of notebook paper. That's fine with me as long as you're ready to talk about it. Thanks, kids. I hope you are ready for reading today. Have a great morning. Bye.